Have you ever found yourself jolted awake at 3 a.m., the world outside cloaked in stillness, wondering why sleep seems to slip through your fingers like sand? Picture this. The room is hushed, the shadows stretch long across the floor, and there you are, eyes tracing the familiar lines of the ceiling, asking yourself, what's wrong with me? If this scene feels like a page torn from your own life, you're not alone. That pre-dawn restlessness is a quiet companion for so many as they grow older. And it's not just a quirk of age or a stubborn habit. It's a whisper from within, your body and mind, reaching out with something to say. Today, I'm inviting you on a journey to uncover 5 powerful reasons why older adults often stir awake around 3 a.m., each one peeling back a layer of mystery about your health, your rhythms, and the life you've woven over the years. These aren't shallow guesses. They're rooted in the real dance of physiology, psychology, and the subtle shifts that come with time. By the end, you might just see those early wake-ups not as interruptions, but as invitations to listen, to understand, and maybe even to find a deeper peace with the night. Imagine sitting across from me over a warm cup of tea, the kind that steams up the air with a faint scent of chamomile, as I share these insights like a friend who's been there too. We'll explore how your hormones ebb and flow, how your sleep patterns reshape themselves, how your body speaks through quiet aches, and how your daily habits and hidden emotions play their part. Each reason is a thread in a tapestry, rich with detail and meaning. And I promise to weave it with care, vivid enough to feel, relatable enough to hold close. So, if you've ever lain awake in those small hours, wondering why, settle in. This is for you. What you discover here might not only ease you back into sleep, but also light up a corner of your life you hadn't fully seen before. Ready? Let's dive in. Number 1, the melatonin fade. What if the secret to your 3 a.m. wake-ups lies in a tiny hormone that's been dimming with every passing year? Meet melatonin, your body's gentle night watchman, the one that cues the lights to lower and the curtains to fall on your day. When you were younger, melatonin flowed like a steady river, guiding you into deep, unbroken sleep as the stars wheeled overhead. You'd drift off after a late-night laugh with friends or a quiet chapter of a book, and the night held you close until morning. But as time turns, that river slows to a trickle. It's not your fault. It's just nature's way. By your 60s or 70s, your body produces less melatonin, and that dip can leave you stranded in the shallows of sleep when the clock strikes 3. Think of it like this. You slip into bed after a cozy evening, maybe a bowl of soup, a soft blanket, the hum of a favorite song still in your ears. You fall asleep easily, the day melting away. But a few hours later, that melatonin reserve runs low, and without its steady hand, your brain tiptoes toward wakefulness. There's no crash of thunder or barking dog to blame, just a quiet shift inside. And suddenly, there you are, blinking into the dark, alert as if the sun's already peeking through the blinds. Now, add the world around you into the mix. That sliver of streetlight sneaking past the curtains, the faint red glow of the alarm clock. Even a whisper of light from the hallway can nudge melatonin further out of reach. As we age, our bodies grow more sensitive to these intruders, amplifying the effect. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's that your chemistry is rewriting its own rules. Take Harold, for instance. At 72, he's the kind of man who could sleep through a storm in his younger days, back when he'd stay up swapping stories with his fishing buddies over a crackling fire. The scent of pine and the lap of lake water would linger as he dozed off, waking only when the dawn painted the sky gold. But these days, he's up at 3:15 a.m., not rattled or restless, just awake, as if his body's decided the day's begun. At first, he'd lie there, frustrated, wondering why sleep betrayed him. Then he learned about melatonin's fade. Not a failure, but a fact. So Harold got curious. He swapped his old blinds for thicker ones, banishing the street lamp's glow. He ditched his late-night scrolling for a stroll under the evening sky, letting the dusk settle his rhythm. Now, when he wakes, he doesn't fight it. He sips water, adjusts his pillow, and trusts his body's still learning its new dance. That shift from blame to understanding. It's like a weightlifting, leaving room for compassion instead. This isn't about fixing a broken system. It's about tuning in to a natural change. Maybe you dim the lights earlier, trade screen time for a book, or step outside to feel the cool night air on your face. Small moves, big difference, because when you know your body's not the enemy, you can meet it halfway. And that's where the real rest begins. Number 2, the clock that ticks ahead. Ever notice how you're yawning by 8:01 p.m., even though you swore you'd finish that movie? Or how the birds aren't even chirping yet, but your eyes snap open, ready for the day? That's your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, slipping forward, a little like a watch that's been wound too tight over the years. It's called advanced sleep phase, and it's a quiet gift of aging that nudges you to bed earlier and wakes you before the world stirs. By 3 a.m., your body's already clocked its full night's rest, leaving you staring into the dark, wondering why sleep's checked out early. In your 20s or 30s, your rhythm synced with late nights. Dinners with friends, the clatter of dishes, the buzz of a city that never slept. You'd collapse into bed past midnight, waking only when the sun demanded it. But now, that clock's reset itself. Maybe you're dozing off by 9 p.m., the TV flickering softly as your eyelids droop. 7 hours later, bam, 3 hours a.m., you're awake. Not because you're restless, but because your body's done its job. It's not insomnia, it's a new schedule, etched into your biology like lines on a well-loved map. And it's not just about time. Life shifts too. Without the clamor of a full house or the grind of a 9 to 5, your days grow quieter, softer. The absence of deadlines or school runs lets your body lean into its natural cues. Dinner at 5:30, a slow unwind, lights out early. It's peaceful, but it can throw you off if you're not ready for it. Consider Charles, 68 and freshly retired. Back when he worked at the hardware store, he'd close up shop at dusk, the jingle of keys in his pocket and sawdust on his boots. He'd stay up late, fixing a neighbor's chair or tinkering in his shed, the radio humming old country tunes. Sleep came late and mornings stretched long. Now, though, his evenings are simpler. Supper by 5:30, a bit of TV, bed by 9 sharp. At first, those 3 a.m. wake-ups baffled him. He'd pad around the kitchen, the linoleum cool underfoot, thinking he'd lost his knack for sleep. Then he heard about advanced sleep phase and saw it for what it was. His body's new rhythm, not a flaw. So, Charles tweaked things. He lingers over a book after dinner, the pages rustling under a warm lamp. He takes a twilight walk, the crunch of gravel grounding him. Sometimes he calls his daughter, her voice a tether to the evening. Bit by bit, his wake-ups slide closer to dawn, and he feels less like a stranger in his own night. This shift isn't a battle to win, it's a season to embrace. Maybe you stretch your evenings with a hobby, a chat, a slow sip of tea. Your clock's ticking ahead, but you can guide it gently, finding a rhythm that fits the life you live now. It's not about forcing sleep, it's about flowing with it. Number 3, the body's midnight whispers. Picture this. You're nestled in bed, the sheets soft against your skin, the faint hum of the house settling around you. You drift off, dreams flickering like old film reels. Then, at 3 a.m., a twinge, a stiff knee, a full bladder, a dry throat pulls you back. It's not loud or dramatic, just a quiet nudge from your body saying, "Hey, I'm still here." As we age, these midnight whispers get harder to ignore. Physical discomfort and health quirks creep in, turning rest into a delicate balancing act. Maybe it's arthritis, that old companion from years of gardening or hauling groceries, stiffening your joints after hours of stillness. Or acid reflux, a sour reminder of that late spaghetti dinner, rising as you lie flat. For many men, it's the bladder, less elastic now, tugging you awake with an urgency that daytime distractions drown out. Even a cramp in your calf or a room too warm can tip the scales, pulling you from sleep's embrace. These aren't emergencies, but they're enough to stir you when your body's guard is down. Medications play a role too. That pill for your heart or blood pressure, it might mean more bathroom trips or a restless edge you can't quite place. It's subtle, sneaky, side effects you don't notice until the night amplifies them. Take Eleanor, 76, a woman with a laugh that could fill a room. She used to sleep light but steady, dreaming of her days teaching third graders, their sticky fingers and bright questions. Last year, though, 3:30 a.m. became her unwelcome alarm. She'd wake, shuffle to the bathroom, and lie back down, sleep just out of reach. She blamed age at first, sighing into the dark. Then her doctor pointed to a new prescription, tweaking her hydration, sending her bladder into overdrive. They adjusted the timing, early afternoon instead of evening, paired it with a lighter supper and a warm scarf against the night chill. Now, Eleanor's wake-ups are rarer, and when they come, she drifts back easier, trusting her body's still on her side. These interruptions aren't betrayals, they're signals. Your body's talking, asking for a tweak here, a shift there. Maybe it's a pillow under your knees, a glass of water by the bed, a chat with your doctor. It's not about silencing the whispers. It's about listening, responding, and finding comfort in the quiet. Number 4, the rhythm of routine. Ever think about how a simple supper at 5 p.m. could nudge you awake at 3 a.m.? It's not just food. It's the rhythm of your days, those small habits that settle into your bones over time. As life slows, maybe after retirement or kids moving out, your routine softens. Dinner slides earlier, evenings grow still, and activity fades. Without realizing it, you're telling your body the night starts sooner, and it listens, waking you when the stars are still out. Back when life buzzed, you'd rush through supper after work, the kitchen alive with chatter and the clink of forks. You'd stay up late, cards with neighbors, a project in the garage, the radio crackling. Now, the pace is gentler. You eat early, wind down with a show, and doze off by 9:00. Your body takes the cue, finishing its sleep cycle by 3 a.m., leaving you wide-eyed in the dark. Food and drink weave in too. An early meal might drop your blood sugar overnight, a faint signal that rouses you. That afternoon coffee? It lingers longer now, your metabolism not as quick, lightening your sleep. Naps, quiet days, they all shift the dial. Walter, 74, knows this shift. He spent decades as a mechanic, grease under his nails, the hum of engines in his ears. He'd eat late, tinker till midnight, sleep like a rock. Retirement changed that. Supper at 5 thou, news at 6 thou, bed by 9 thou. He didn't plan it, it just happened. Then came the 3 a.m. wake-ups, the house silent except for the tick of the clock. Puzzled, he traced his days. Too quiet, too early. So he added an afternoon walk, sun on his face, leaves crunching underfoot. He swapped napping for a book, kept the lights bright till 8 nuit. Slowly, his sleep stretched, aligning with a dawn he could greet with a smile. Your habits are the heartbeat of your sleep. Notice them, tweak them, a walk, a later tea, a bit more life in the evening. It's not about rewriting your day, it's about nudging the rhythm back into step with you. Number 5, the heart's quiet call. Sometimes 3 a.m. isn't about your body at all. It's your heart, stirring in the stillness. As the years pile up, the noise of life fades. Work, kids, errands, and what's left is space. In that space, emotions unfurl. Memories of laughter by the sea, regrets over words unsaid, a longing for voices grown distant. It's not loud anxiety, but a soft ache, a reflection that hums when the world sleeps. Maybe it's a moment replaying, your daughter's first steps, the creak of your old porch swing with someone you loved, or a worry you've tucked away, blooming in the dark. Loneliness can slip in too. Not heavy, but a faint wish for connection when the house feels too big. Gloria, 80, feels this. By day, she's a whirlwind, gardening, her hands in the soil, the scent of roses around her, calling her grandkids, their giggles a lifeline. But at 3 a.m., she wakes, her mind drifting to her late husband, the way he'd hum off key, the warmth of his hand in hers. At first, she fought it, willing sleep back. Then she saw it. Her heart needed this time. She started a journal, scribbling thoughts by lamplight, memories, fears, a note to her kids. She plays soft jazz some nights, a nod to their old dances. It's not about banishing the wake-ups, it's about welcoming them, letting her heart breathe. These moments aren't flaws, they're depth. Your mind's sifting wisdom, asking for grace. Lean in, write, listen, sip tea in the quiet. It's not just sleep you'll find, but a richer you. Number 6, the gift of adaptation. What if waking at 3 a.m. isn't a problem to solve, but a chance to grow? Aging isn't static, it's a living, breathing shift. And those early hours might be your body and soul testing new wings. Think of it like a tree in late autumn. The leaves fall, but the roots dig deeper, finding strength in the quiet. You've lived decades, climbed mountains, weathered storms, and now your rhythms are adapting, asking you to meet them with fresh eyes. Take Marie, 70, a former nurse who once thrived on night shifts, the hospital's hum, her lullaby. Retirement flipped her world. Days open, nights long. At 3 a.m., she'd wake, the silence thick. Instead of resisting, she leaned in. She started knitting in the dim glow of a lamp, the click of needles, a steady pulse. She'd brew herbal tea, the steam curling up like a prayer, and watch the stars fade into dawn. What began as restlessness became her sanctuary, a time to reflect on patients she'd helped, lessons she'd learned, the woman she'd become. Now, she calls it her golden hour, a gift carved from change. This isn't about surrender, it's about possibility. Maybe you sketch, meditate, or plan your garden in those hours. Your body's not failing, it's evolving, and you can too. Embrace the quiet, and you might find It's not just waking, it's awakening. Final thoughts. So, here we are, the night stretching out like a shared secret. What struck you deepest? The melatonins fade, the clocks advance, the body's whispers, the rhythm of your days, the heart's call, or this new gift of adaptation. Each is a window into you, not a flaw, but a sign of life still pulsing strong. Those 3 a.m. moments aren't thefts of sleep. They're gentle taps on the shoulder, urging you to listen to your needs, your past, your quiet strength. You're not alone in this. Millions lie awake too, searching the dark for answers. But here's the beauty. With every reason we've uncovered, there's a step to take, a kindness to offer yourself. Dim the lights, shift your evenings, hear your heart. You're not just aging, you're unfolding, and these wake-ups are part of the story. So next time the clock glows 3, smile. You're still here, still growing, and that's a wonder worth resting in.